All right, welcome. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of a single day, just one day, that all the prophets throughout history have been waiting for, have longed for? Well, in the Baha'i sacred writings, this concept has a name, the Day of God. So today, let's unpack what that really means.
And right away, you can see this isn't just any ordinary day we're talking about. The writings describe it as a moment so incredibly important that every divine messenger in history has literally, well, thirsted for it. That word alone tells you we're dealing with something absolutely momentous. So how do we even begin to wrap our heads around a concept this huge? Well, it all starts with a foundational idea. It's about the way divine guidance has reached humanity throughout all of history.
This framework is called progressive revelation. The core idea is actually pretty simple. Religious truth isn't just delivered all at once in one big info dump. Instead, it's revealed in stages, cyclically, over centuries, through different divine messengers. It's kind of like humanity is going through a really long educational process, and each messenger is the perfect teacher for their specific age.
And this quote, wow, it just captures that idea perfectly. The writings talk about an unbroken chain of successive revelations, linking figures from Adam all the way to the Bab. So the main takeaway here is that each messenger is a crucial link in one single unfolding story, and each one brings a message that's perfectly tailored for their time.
Now, what's really interesting is that this chain of teachers, this series of revelations, it's not random. According to the text, it's all part of a much larger, very deliberate plan.
This idea of a foreordained plan is absolutely crucial. It means the message brought by each prophet wasn't an accident. It was the right message at exactly the right time, perfectly suited for whatever humanity was capable of understanding at that point. You see, each revelation was a deliberate step in this grand design.
So, okay, if all of history has been this series of progressive lessons, you gotta ask, where is it all leading? Well, the writings describe this entire process as building towards a single, climactic moment, a culmination of all the previous ages. But get this ultimate revelation is described as being so powerful, so potent, that it couldn't just appear all at once. It actually had to be introduced carefully. It had to be concealed at first, because its full glory would have been, well, just too much for us to handle. And this brings us to this really beautiful and powerful metaphor, the thousand veils. It just paints this vivid picture of a spiritual reality so intense, so brilliant, that it had to be shielded from us, only to be revealed when the world was finally ready. And then comes the big reveal. The text says that when the time for all that concealment was finally over, even just an infinitesimal glimmer of this glory was enough to cause a violent commotion in the heavens. I mean, that really puts into perspective the sheer power of what's being unveiled here. And here it is, the big declaration. This moment, this culmination of that long chain of revelation, is what's called the Day of God. It's presented as the time when humanity can finally, directly, behold the face and hear the voice of the Promised One. So if this great revelation has actually happened, the focus naturally shifts, right? It goes from the divine to the human. What's our role in all this? What does it ask of us?
And yeah, that's the question that really brings this huge cosmic concept down to a very personal level. What does it mean for you and me, right here, right now? The text gives us a direct call to action. We're supposed to undertake an independent investigation of truth. It's asking each of us to clear our hearts of all our preconceptions and prejudices, of what it calls every idle word, and just to look at the world with an open and unbiased mind, to search for the signs of this new day for ourselves.
But here's a fascinating twist. While those divine veils may have been lifted, the text suggests that humanity, well, we've created our own most grievous veil. This could be things like rigid dogma, old traditions that no longer serve us, or even just materialism. Really, anything that stops us from seeing this new spiritual reality. We'll end on this final passage, which feels less like a conclusion and more like a prayer, really. It's a hopeful vision that this revelation will ultimately lead to global unity, a world where all of humanity finally recognizes a single underlying spiritual truth. And that is a pretty powerful thought to leave you with.